Auto.
So what are we drinking?
Oh shit.
Don't worry, it's only on me.
This is a Belgian style beer.
Have we even said hello?
No.
Yeah, we said Wagwan.
Oh, Wagwan.
Wagwan, what's going on?
Wagwan.
There you go. Let's talk. Go.
Yeah, so this is a Belgian beer. We're drinking it's a red ale. It's a sour red ale, is what it is.
Straight away you notice doesn't hold a foam for too long.
No, I've noticed sour beers don't really hold a head that much.
Shit, it's on the table.
Damn, it's an interesting smell.
Damn. Duchess de Bourgogne.
I'm not going to attempt to say it.
Bourgogne.
Bourguignon.
Bourguignon.
No idea.
Bourguignon.
Bourguignon.
We'll call it Duchess de Bourguignon.
Duchess de
of
Bourguignon. De Bourguignon. Bourgogne.
All right, boys, welcome. Here's the beer. Here's all of us.
Yes.
So this is we're changing up the format a little bit again. As you know, we're going for one beer. We're going to chat about like some topic of like what's good, what's new in the bartending world, or something that we find interesting. And hopefully it's going to be pretty cool.
Hopefully, assuming I can remember everything.
Yeah, hey. That's what we're here for.
Right, innit?
Alright. So what are we thinking about the beer? Should we give
It's
it a
different,
taste?
bro. It's super different. Not as sour as you think it's going to be. It's actually kind of like sweet and
Ooh, wow.
sour, like tart and sour. Not tart and sour, tart and sweet.
Very fizzy. Very fizzy to start with.
I get what they mean about the balsamic vinegar.
And now it's
Yes.
holding a fucking.
Yes.
Now it's holding a head.
Yeah.
Balsamic vinegar, did they mention that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the tasting notes include like balsamic vinegar.
Okay. I'm guessing that's where that vinegary fizziness comes from.
Yeah, so this is made like a standard red ale. And then it's aged for like years and years and years in oak barrels, which is what gives it the sour flavor.
Well,
I can imagine what gives it the colour then as well.
Yeah, that's what will like deepen it.
Well,
darken
doesn't the sour flavour come from just being left for a long time? You know, the yeast keeps eating all the sugar in it.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
yeah,
so
yeah.
essentially, the fermentation continues in the barrel whilst you're deepening it with the flavours of oak and vanilla and wood.
Yeah.
Essentially.
and then it just continues to dry.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And then you get this really nice sort of sweet,
I like it. I quite like that.
mildly sour kind of taste to it. I like it. I quite like it.
It's real different, actually, isn't it? How strong is it? 6.2.
6.2%.
Woof.
It's quite strong for a. What's an average ale percentage? Do you know?
Like
4 and 5.
4 to 5, 4.5
So
to
it's
to
up
6
there. It's
probably.
up there.
Yeah, it's a stronger.
I
It's
think
a stronger
it'd
style
still
for
probably
sure.
be classed as like a lower grade beer, because you can get ones that go up to like 12, like
You can,
30%
you can,
beers.
yeah.
Some of them.
Holy shit.
So it's not like
30%
super
beer.
strong. It's kind of
It's more of a fucking spirit
yeah,
at that point.
probably just pushing into like the mid range of beers. This one.
Yeah,
I think this would work quite well in a cocktail, you know.
I reckon you could cook with this.
Turn this into a good reduction or something.
Ooh, yeah, this is a reduction. Would be really interesting, actually.
It would
In a sour, in an actual sour itself.
You put it in fucking anything, yeah. You put it in a sour,
Mm-hmm.
and it would basically like bolster the lemon juice,
Mm.
the astringency of the lemon juice.
Yeah.
I reckon it'd be really nice. And on the topic of sour,
Hey.
what are we talking about today?
We're going to talk about alternative acids
Alternative
and
acids.
what they are and how to use them in cocktail making.
Yeah. So
Basically.
what do we mean when we're talking about alternative acid? What is it an alternative to?
Well, so the most well-known acids are citric acid, malic acid. Citric acid being the main body and compound that you find within lemon and lime juice.
Mm-hmm.
There's no malic acid in lemon juice, but there is in lime.
Mm.
But basically, there are a ton of different types of acid that you can use to add to cocktails for varying different reasons, different
Mhm.
ways. There are 3 different ways that you can add them in, and that's replacement, seasoning, and manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
So you can straight up just replace. You could replace lemon juice with a citric acid solution straight instead of using actual lemon juice, which does a few things.
What does it do?
Well, it gives you the acidity that you get from lemon juice that you can use to temper spirits. So if you're making a daiquiri, which is just lime juice, sugar, and rum, right? You could add a teaspoon, 5 ml, of citric acid solution mixed 4:1 with filtered water and citric acid powder, and essentially it would be as acidic and have a very similar flavour to lemon juice without using lemon juice, which allows you to stir the cocktail first of all without shaking it, which you would need to do anyway because you need to add that extra length that you're not getting from the lemon juice. And I've lost my train of thought completely.
Something about lemon juice?
Something about lemon juice.
I'll be honest, I was wondering why Will's beer looks so
already
much flatter than ours.
Because it's got a
wider snap.
wider top. So it dissipates more
There's
quickly.
more air going into it.
Bang.
No, as soon as I poured it in, there was no.
There's just no foam at all.
Wow.
Yeah, it doesn't hold very well.
Well, I've noticed you guys have got a lot
saying
slimmer.
that, and ours
Mm.
is just stuck.
I know, but if you were to put Budweiser in there,
The foam
foam
will
would still hold.
longer.
Yeah,
Which
maybe.
point that
well,
out, yeah.
it's to do with hops, isn't it? How long the foam lasts.
Yeah, head retention and
Head
all that.
retention is all to
Yeah.
do with hops. Yeah, no, I was going somewhere with what we were saying before, and I've completely lost what it is.
You went from daiquiri to lemon juice.
Yeah, well, you can add it in 2 ways. It's completely slipped my mind.
Is there any way it's the acid like this is in this beer? How they've used it?
No.
No, because the sourness comes from here, purely from like a prolonged fermentation.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when you're making like we're making the kombucha. The tea goes sour because it's fermented.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just backtrack. Let me just start again. Let me just go from replacement, seasoning, manipulation. So you can just straight up replace like a teaspoon of citric acid solution in place of lemon juice, and it will impart that citric flavour into it, which will help you balance the drink. But it doesn't taste exactly like lemon and lime juice. So if you were to just straight up go and do replacement and do say you're making a daiquiri and you do 5 ml citric acid solution, 15 ml sugar and 50 ml rum, it's better as like a kind of informative experiment that you would just do. You would make it and you would taste the difference side by side with a drink that had lemon juice and had citric acid in it to kind of understand it a little bit better. You wouldn't want to use it as just like the backbone for a drink. So what you'll find most people do with things like citric acid is you'll add them to cocktails as more of a seasoning, which is the second way that you can add them. And you'll add just a few drops to kind of boost up drinks that end up being a little bit like flabby around the edges.
Flabby?
Yeah, so as an example...
what's a flabby drink?
As an example, when you guys have had Blood and Sands, right?
Yeah.
So Blood and Sands, normally the cocktail would call for equal parts of Scotch, Antica Formula, cherry herring and orange juice. And because orange juice as a citrus juice is often, it's not as... there's a word. It's not always the same. When something is not always the same, it's not as accurate, it's not as... There's a word, I can't remember. It's not coming to my mind.
We'll Google it.
We'll Google it.
We'll flash it up.
But essentially, orange juice is not consistent.
There you go.
Orange juice is not consistent, and like...
Word of the day.
Consistent. Orange juice isn't all that consistent, and it also has a real like dulling flavour. It dulls the flavour of cocktails.
Oh, okay.
So if you were to make a Blood and Sands and you sip it, you go, it's an okay drink, but it's...
So is there
there's something missing. It's a little bit...
real difference when you use normal citrus for like a lemon or a lime
Yes.
using
Well, yes, there is.
to using the citric acid?
Yeah, there is. There is a
Is
difference.
there a good and a bad reason for using it?
Well, you can use, if you want to stir down a cocktail,
Right.
instead of shake it, you can use citric acid solution instead, which will allow you to stir the drink, and it will give you still the acidity that you would expect from a daiquiri, but instead of being shaken and foamy, frothy, be much stiffer, more like martini style. The rum is going to shine through a lot more. Well, if we're talking sidecar, the cognac is going to shine through a lot more, and so is the Cointreau. But you'll still have that acidity there to balance the sugar.
So it's basically
in
there
the
so you
Cointreau.
can use it as a different method.
Yeah, it's a different method of creating, different drinks. And if you just substitute it into a 3-drink cocktail, it's going to almost be the same, but not really, and it's not going to be all that interesting. But you can use it in a drink that has extra ingredients in it, and you could substitute it straight in, just so that the spirits in the drink itself shine more in the limelight than the citrus, which again would be replacement. Whereas what I was saying with seasoning in the blood and sand, you use just a couple dashes, a few drops of citric acid solution to boost the orange juice, make it more vibrant, so that it doesn't have that neutralizing effect on the cocktail as a whole, and you lose all the other flavors from the other spirits.
And if you wanted to use lemon or lime, you'd have to obviously clarify it first before you stir it.
Well, in that cocktail, yes.
So using the citric acid, you wouldn't have to technically clarify it because...
Well, no, you wouldn't have
It's
to
already-
either, but again, you're using the acid to not necessarily to add the flavour of lemon juice, but to add the acidity of lemon juice.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, basically, and then the final way you can add it is manipulation, where you add an acid, whichever one you want to add, to a specific ingredient, like, well, we'll talk about it later, but you can add lactic acid to
I've got some interesting things.
vanilla syrup.
About lactic acid.
Well, not that I know of. Questions of lactic acid. I'm quite interested on that one.
Right.
Where it comes from and shit, you know.
Well, I don't know where we get powdered lactic acid from, but it does occur naturally within you and within dairy, I think. But yeah, manipulation, where you add an acid to a specific ingredient to manipulate it to bring out a flavour, or to add texture as well, because some acids add texture, not flavour.
Yeah.
But there are a few acids we're going to talk about.
Yes.
We're going to talk about citric, malic, phosphoric, lactic, and tartric acid. Yeah, we're going to talk about those, and then in theory, how to use them, how to prepare them.
What are the benefits of using these acids over lemon and lime juice? What do they
Consistency.
You can get more.
Consistency. Less waste. If you were to run a bar where you didn't use lemon and lime juice and you just used acids, you would have zero fucking wastage on citrus
You
fruit.
wouldn't be throwing away all the husks and things.
Because it
You would
lasts
just
forever.
Yeah.
Can be stored at
Just
room
when it goes
temperature.
off, you can just make it, bottle it, and have like a ton of it.
Yeah, I guess you can batch it then.
Yeah.
As if
So
you would batch lemon and lime.
when we talk about each individual one and its use, we can talk about in what ratio you prepare it, and what form it comes in. But the only thing to bear in mind is if anybody sees this and goes and actually tries to make some cocktails using acids, wear gloves. Just wear gloves, because
For any reason?
for the reason that they are still
Burn your
acidic
skin.
and they can burn your skin. They won't necessarily, most of them aren't any more dangerous than getting lemon and lime juice on your hands, but it's always best to be a little bit safe. It's not good for your skin.
Even lemon and lime juice will give you citrus plants.
Over time, especially if you have sensitive skin. And then make sure you always store your acids in glass, because they'll
Why glass?
Well, because they'll dissolve through plastic over time.
And the plastic will just corrode.
In the same, it's corrosive. So always store it in glass, and you don't need to store it in the fridge. You can just store it at room temperature.
Oh, nice. Well, I guess it wouldn't go out of date at that point.
Not really. Not unless you've got
No expiry.
bacteria and shit in your
Yeah,
water,
dirty
which is
glass,
why we should also
bad
talk
water.
about that. When we're talking about water mixing with alternative acids, we're using filtered water, because if it's not filtered, then the minerality of the water itself is going to contribute to the flavour and possibly the deterioration of.
But some people might.
All
Yeah,
that,
in
some
all that
cases you
bacteria
might want that.
exploding.
In some cases,
well.
if you have awesome water, like where you live naturally, then that's fine. Otherwise, I wouldn't recommend it.
Up in Scotland, use that water from the Highlands.
Yeah, exactly. Up in Scotland and
Shout out
places
to our
like
Scottish
that.
water boys.
But yeah, no, exactly. You wouldn't want to use bad water in it.
No.
Yeah.
Filtered water is just better.
Nice. So what's our first acid? What's the first one? What's the
Right.
main one? What are people using most of?
Most of, well, no, as they're all
Or
for
what's
different.
what's first on the list?
Let's start with phosphoric acid,
Yeah.
because it's one that people drink every day.
Without knowing.
Yeah.
And
Well,
they
most
probably-
people
well, they
might
probably
not
don't know. So phosphoric acid is used in everyday like sodas, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Sprite, pretty much anything like that. Any commercial soda that you can buy contains phosphoric acid, and the reason for that is because just like citric acid, it gives you acidity, but it's flavorless and odorless. So it adds no flavor whatsoever. It just gives you a like tingling tartness on your tongue,
Right.
which is what makes you come back for more. Which is
So
why you
it's
like it so
that
much. That's why
thing
people
that
get
makes you
addicted.
addicted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the phosphoric acid gives you that tingling, sweet deliciousness on your tongue, and you're like, wow.
Sweet. Let's just put it in everything we make.
So
Everyone will just get addicted.
they're
Can you
really,
imagine they use
really,
it in food products then as well, maybe.
yeah, almost certainly.
Yeah.
Because I've noticed, so I've heard before that like fast food like restaurants will use ingredients to make it more addictive, so that you will come back for more and that sort of stuff. So I'm guessing that's
Oh, yeah,
like one of the
well,
byproducts.
We've all heard of that,
Flavour
haven't we,
and
before?
The whole
Yeah.
MSG,
MSG, mono,
thing,
sodium, glutamate.
which is just a flavour enhancer and a
yeah, it's just
slightly
like salt.
addictive substance. Yeah, it just brings out the flavour of all the
yeah,
of everything that's in there, and it just makes you go, oh wow, yeah, I want
yeah,
some more of
MSG.
I need that in me.
that.
But so when you're working with phosphoric acid, it's quite hard to get hold of phosphoric acid in bulk.
Mhm.
You can try and go and find phosphoric acid and then bring it home. And what you need
Wait,
to do,
find it where? Like
well,
out
that's
in the
thing.
wild? Like
No, on the internet.
go hunting in the
On
woods.
Plug it from a tree.
on the
Yeah.
internet is probably the only place you're going to find it.
Yeah.
It's extremely hard to get hold of in powdered form. And as with pretty much all of these acids, actually no, phosphoric acid is a liquid thing. Phosphoric acid comes in liquid form, and even in
Right.
liquid form, it has to be diluted even further
Mm.
because it's extremely potent.
Yeah.
If you're gonna get hold of phosphoric acid yourself and dilute it yourself, then you need to deeply research ways to do that safely. We will not tell you how to do that.
Do your research, fam.
That is something that you need to Google how to do safely.
Google. In
But if you don't want to do that, there is a product that exists that is ready to use, and it's called extinct phosphoric acid, and you can buy it online, and then that you can just use straight up as you
What
will.
is that? Like a pre-diluted?
Pre-diluted
acid?
liquid phosphoric
Is
acid.
it made like for cocktails, or is it made for like drinks?
no,
and
it's
food and
made
things?
for cocktails,
Oh,
pretty
wow,
much.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a few things that are doing. I've seen a couple of like these like lemon juice substitutes.
Yeah, and
going
this
around.
is
There
all.
was
This
that
is all
super
they are.
sour thing. There was just like a mix of acids that was
yeah.
meant to be used as a.
And that's all it
lemon
is.
juice
It's a
alternative.
mix of probably citric acid, malic acid, and a bit of phosphoric acid. And that's
Do you
gonna.
reckon, so when you can buy like these lemon juices from like stores and stuff, this is what the stuff they'll stick inside it, because obviously
Well,
might
if it
not
says
be
something like 80% lemon juice, then
Yeah.
you bet your fucking ass that the other 20% is water and citric acid. Yeah.
right.
Yeah, because it will
100%.
also preserve it as well.
Yeah.
It'll mean like you can keep it for like a week in your fridge.
See, that's ascorbic acid, not citric acid. It helps to bolster it, but
Yeah.
it's not an antioxidant. Citric acid.
Yeah.
Ascorbic acid is.
Okay. So then maybe there's some of that in.
Mo-
Because these like lemon juices and things will last like a week.
well,
in the
yeah,
fridge.
well, that's because they're just water
Yeah.
and powder, so they'll never go off. There's no fresh product inside. But yeah, otherwise you can buy phosphoric acid to use straight away as you want into a drink, and it'll give you that tartness. But you don't ever want to use more than like 5 ml, because if you have more than 5 ml inside your drink, it will start to develop a metallic taste, which
Anything
don't
you would
want.
say you would, like for a drink example, would you would not use it in?
I would
or
not
would it just be
use
fine
it
in any drink?
It's fine in anything that you want to add acidity to. So I wouldn't add it to anything that already contains a citrus juice or anything acidic like kumquats, which have very acidic juice but sweet peels. Anything like that. What I would
true?
add it, yeah, that's true. What I would add it to
I
is
haven't had a kumquat in a very long time.
they're
Used to have
really
I don't think I've had a
all the time.
kumquat.
they're really good for
They're
muddling.
little
Like this.
orange
Yeah.
fruits, and they're
Seen them
super
before,
sour,
yeah.
and they're like.
Yeah,
My mum used to buy them all the time, and I haven't had one in like
but the
maybe
skin
15 years.
is really
or
sweet.
something. Yeah.
So they're really good for muddling into cocktails.
okay.
You muddle them to get that sweetness from the skin and then the
Yeah.
sourness from the juice. It's really cool. But what people really like to use phosphoric acid in the cocktail world is to put them in highball variations.
Mm.
Because if you think about it, you do a whiskey highball with a couple dashes of this thing that's going to give you that tangy, like
We're gonna
that
bring a lot of
tanginess on
stuff
there.
out.
Yeah, and it's flavourless and odourless.
Yeah.
So the flavour does not change, but the entire feel of the drink changes. The way it will roll off your tongue, it will leave your tongue feeling like you've had grapefruit in there, but it won't impart a flavour.
Yeah.
It's very, very weird. It's something that certainly I need to try to actually understand what it feels like to have a drink, like a cocktail with it in.
Yeah, because you're not going to get that lemon. You're not going to taste lemon or lime. If
You're not gonna taste anything.
substituting it.
Well, with citric acid,
It's a
You
good
taste
point,
lemon.
actually.
but phosphoric acid is odourless and colourless
Mm.
and flavourless.
And flavours.
So what you're getting from that is
The feeling.
It's tartness.
that.
You'll add a tartness on your
that
tongue.
bite.
Yeah,
Okay.
without
It's got-
adding any flavour,
Yeah.
which is really cool, and that's why I want to try it.
Yeah.
You know, whiskey highball, couple dash, it's gonna be super interesting. Yeah, well,
like that.
yeah, it is. It's gonna be like.
Mm.
So yeah, that's phosphoric acid. That's what you use phosphoric acid for. Can't think of many other applications, but I'm sure that there are tons of applications for phosphoric acid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go. Any more questions? Phosphoric acid.
Any more questions? Let's go
Phosphoric
around
acid.
the room.
No, I think you've answered most of my questions throughout the
Okay.
talk on that one.
We kind of covered citric acid in the beginning in like the intro.
Did a little bit, yeah.
Well, that's pretty much the use. As I say, you don't want to just replace it straight into a drink because it's not actually all that interesting and it doesn't really fully. It's close to lemon juice.
I mean,
but
it
it's
is
not
what
all
it
the way.
it is what it says it is, isn't it?
Yeah,
In a
well,
way,
it adds sourness to a drink.
it's a one use
With-
product.
Yeah. Well, if you have been juicing your lemons in the middle of the shift and you've tasted it all of a sudden and you've realised that it's not as sour as it is normally, you add 1 dash of citric acid solution to every cocktail you make with that lemon juice, and that boosts it
And
to
so you
the
can
correct.
use it with
That's-
additional.
Use it.
That's
citrus
how you
inside
use it as a manipulator.
Nice.
That's how you will manipulate an ingredient to get it to where you want it to.
Yeah.
Just like when you're using, you know how you were going to do carrot juice
Yeah.
and add orange juice and something else,
Lime juice.
lime juice to boost it,
Mhm.
right? If you don't want to do that, you add a blend of citric and malic acid to boost it, and so then you don't have to add those, because you're adding those to boost the flavour,
Right.
but if you don't want to add the flavour of orange and lime, you can get the feeling and the brightness from your carrot juice without adding those two flavours. So you'll have you'll have the flavour of carrot with the profile that you want
From
without
the other
having to
citruses.
add other ingredients.
Yeah.
So it's cheaper, less waste, and in theory it's more effective.
Nice. I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, so that would be a way that you could manipulate an ingredient with citric acid,
Okay.
which is what it's mainly used for.
Yeah.
If you wanna make citric acid solution, you use a ratio of 4:1 filtered water to citric acid powder.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in grams, and if you're going to do this, it needs to be super accurate. So you need a scale that's accurate to 0.01 of a gram.
Yeah.
But basically all you do is just take, say 4:1, so you can do, what am I trying to say? 100 ml of filtered water to 25 grams, 100 grams of filtered water to 25 grams of citric acid solution, citric acid powder, and you just mix it in with the water, and then you put it in a glass bottle, and that's it. Done.
And then it will just last for.
Yeah, and you usually just add it by the drop. As I say, you can fully substitute it in. Rule of thumb, 5 ml is roughly 20 ml of lemon or lime juice. 5 ml of solution, 20 ml of lemon or lime juice.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the main use for citric acid.
Nice.
Yeah. Any questions on citric acid?
How do you spell citric?
You know I'm dyslexic, right?
It begins with a C.
It does begin with a C.
And an I.
And an I, yeah. Next one.
T.
Yep.
R.
Yeah.
I. C.
My guy.
That's good, that's good.
How did I fail English?
I don't know.
Word
bro.
of the day. Citric. English.
All right.
I'm going to say why.
Nice. What are we thinking of the beer now that we've gotten a little bit more into it? What do we think? Still enjoying it? Still liking it?
Do you know after that? You know, obviously when you drink it, you get that tanginess of that, and the fizziness and that sort of stuff. It also, that lingers on your mouth for quite a while, I've noticed. I don't know about you guys.
Does last a very long. All I can taste is sour.
Yeah.
And every time I go to sip, you get like a little bit of the malt, a little bit of like fruitiness from the beer.
Yeah, see, that's
slightly.
what I was not expecting. Because obviously ale is a bit more on the bitter side, if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm.
This is not bitter at all.
No, because the sourness
sour.
is just going to cut straight through it.
Yeah.
So all like the sort of bitterness from the hops, I guess, that are used in this are just going to be like completely killed off
It's going to hide it completely, yeah.
by the letting it mature in
I'm
those
interested
barrels.
to see what part of it is. The part that makes it sour is the part they've left it to fermentate for
Yeah.
longer.
It's allowing all the
take
sugar
your
to...
And then
Yeah.
if they didn't ferment it for longer, it's just going to be an ale at that
It's
point.
just a red ale, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
exactly. It's
Then it would
allowing
have
the
that
sugar
bitterness and
to...
that hoppy sort of aroma to it.
Okay. So now I know that to make it sour, you just ferment it for longer, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much. There is often a bit more to it
there's
than that.
probably
Than
other
types of yeast, like when they make like a saison, which is a sour beer, or a farmhouse ale, which is a sour beer, they'll use specific yeasts to impart specific flavors at the end. So it's probably
All about your yeast.
this sour flavor is a combination of the yeast and the sugar. I bet it's in another language.
It doesn't say a lot on the back. I had to Google it. I had to look it up online.
It's fully just another language.
What do you want to know? I'll read it to you.
I just wanted to know what they were describing it as.
Say Flemish red.
Flemish red, yeah.
It's not really like any other beer I've had, to be honest.
No, I've never tried a beer like this.
To be fair, it is very reminiscent of a farmhouse or a saison, but just not all the way. Not as sour as those go. It's quite nice, although I think I'd only drink one.
Oh, that's a shame because you got another.
Yeah, well, I know. I'm gonna
I'm
drink 2 today, but normally if I was just in a bar chilling.
How many have we got?
Yeah, I think I'd have like one sour, just these.
Just these ones?
These 3, yeah, it was 2 each.
Because I find sour beers after a while, it's a lot, you know.
It's intense.
Because it really does
very
hang
intense
on your
flavour,
tongue.
yeah.
So your tongue, all you taste for the entire period of drinking it is
just sourness.
Is sourness, which is I like sour stuff, so it's not a problem. But as I say, just one.
Come on, sweet and sour to go with your sweet sour chicken.
Well, yeah. So it's supposed to go really good with spicy Thai food.
Oh, there you go.
So this would be really good with like
There's a real
Thai
creaminess
restaurant.
to it.
like a Thai red curry.
Yeah,
Spicy
like
Mexican.
Some sticky
Uncle
rice.
Ben rice.
Ooh, sticky rice, bro.
Sticky rice.
Sticky
Yeah.
rice. Yeah.
Like a beef Thai red curry. Some sticky rice.
Oh.
Oh, is everyone else like really?
Yeah,
No,
don't
no.
do that to me, man.
Oh, even just like sticky pork ribs, you know.
Ross, I'm talking about fucking ribs and shit, man.
Are we gonna have to order Uber Eats again?
No,
No.
maybe.
Okay. Anyway, back to acids. Next one. What's what
What's
have we
the next
done?
acid?
Phosphoric,
We've done
citric,
phosphoric,
malic.
citric. We're going to hit malic.
Tell me
now.
about malic acid.
Okay, so malic acid is, if you've ever eaten an apple, then you've tasted malic acid. It's that bite, that
You're going to find it
tangy-
more in a green apple.
Yeah, more in a green apple than in a red apple, but in all apples, you will find malic acid, and it's like that. It's that nice bite that you get at the end, you know, around your tongue, that tartness, that bitterness. Malic acid, it's a lot stronger than citric acid, so when you mix it in a ratio of 9:1 rather than 4:1. So if you were to make 100 ml of liquid, you would do 90 grams of filtered water to 10 grams of malic powdered acid. And again, just mix it with water and then store it in glass. But basically, you add it to cocktails in the same way that you would add citric, just to kind of bolster them, to give them that little extra bit of bite.
Right.
An example of which would be if you wanted to make like, say, an apple soda from a clarified juice, because you don't want it to be cloudy when you add it to the cocktail, because it's going to, you know, cloudy apple juice with cocktail in it.
I missed it again.
Seriously, it's gone.
You still got most of it.
Yeah.
I'm just
Quite
keeping
like
up with time.
What time? There's no time here. There's no time here.
We're always on the clock.
That's intense if you go fast on it.
It is, isn't it?
Malic acid. Oh, yeah, so probably one of the best applications for malic acid, and also another application for citric acid, which I didn't talk about a minute ago, is you can add it as is without making a solution to syrups. So you can add it as a powder to your syrups. Right?
Right,
Make
go
a
on.
citrus syrup.
Basically what it will do is it will boost the flavors of your syrups.
Right.
If you want to, if you think it needs them. So like the gooseberry
Boost
syrup,
this.
for instance,
Oh,
that we
that's
make
why
at
we're adding
Dishoom,
citric.
we add citric acid
Mhm.
to give it like that extra tartness on the end of the gooseberry, to accent that flavour, basically. And you can do the same with malic acid. And malic acid can be added to a syrup just to kind of accent those flavours at the end. So like raspberry, for instance, when you turn that into a syrup, it quite often, you know, becomes a little bit dull when you add it to drinks. But if you add a little bit of citric acid in there, just at the end, you're going to get that kick, like you're biting into a raspberry. So it can be added to syrups just to kind of give them that extra level, that extra layer. Which is probably the best uses that you'll find for citric and malic acid, particularly malic, because it's very bright, like lime juice. So I probably wouldn't add malic straight into a cocktail.
Right.
If it were me.
You would add it to a product.
To a syrup. Yeah, I would use
and then
it as
add
a
it to
manipulator,
the cocktail
and then
after.
add that syrup into the cocktail. Yeah.
Okay.
For instance.
You want a beer?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Let's not wait for this. It's gonna
I'll take a beer then as well.
Nice. Oh, my guy.
Well, I'm not waiting, am I? Yeah?
Go for it.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, boy. Boop.
There you go, Ramos Gin Fizz.
Get a bar spoon, stick it in there, you might be able to.
Oh,
look at this, look,
Okay.
it's got it on the top, there's a little window.
Oh, it's a
And
little
little air
igloo.
pocket.
Little fucking igloo, mate. They're never going to see that on the fucking...
Yeah, you can see it.
Yeah, you can see it.
You see straight through the
That's
phone.
going to be horribly out of focus.
Who gives a shit, mate? Everything's horribly out of focus for me all the
Nice.
yeah. Boop. So another great use for malic acid
Yes.
is to add back the bite that you get from citrus juices or juices in general that have been lost through clarification.
Oh.
Yeah.
So if you take a clarified juice and then add malic acid back into it.
You can give it the bite that it would have had originally.
And does malic have a flavour to it? Or is that also flavourless,
Malic-
odourless, colourless?
No,
and
malic will taste like a lime.
like a lime would.
Yeah, but again, It's very, very, very potent. So,
So if you squeezed some lime juice and then you got some malic acid, tried them separately.
It would be different.
It would be different because
it would be
still in a lime, the main body of it is citric acid, but it's the malic acid that gives it that much more vibrant bite, like that extra bitterness. Did you just fucking kiss me?
That's what I thought he did.
I was like,
Yeah, well, exactly like that. Yeah. Yeah, that's a use for it.
Vibrant. Ooh.
Adding it to clarified juices, which in of itself are really interesting. Like clarification in cocktails.
Clarification.
Is really,
We
really
started
cool.
doing a ton of it, and then
and it works really well.
yeah.
But
Apart from with espresso martinis.
don't try and
Don't
clarify
clarify an
espresso
espresso
martinis.
martini.
Well, you see, to curdle the milk,
Mm.
when I made the clarified espresso martini, I used a citric acid solution.
oh, the light's gone off.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fine. There's no more beers in front of it.
because obviously there's
So
no.
what's going on here? What's going on with the mat? Who did this?
I don't.
Was that you, Will?
I think it was probably.
Or was that
you? I don't know. It was one of
Was that the start of-
I know that I've been rolling this side, and then I think Will's been rolling
At
the
the
other
start of this,
side.
me and Will were saying every time Jamie fiddles with something, we're going to slap his hands and slap
Yeah.
him. And
Fuck,
then Will
start
goes and
slapping my
fucking...
hands. I'm gonna take
So
yours.
I was watching the podcast the other day in my room, and I noticed that every time that you were playing with this, my eye directly drew toward your hand.
What, and just stare at my
Stare at your
fiddling
hand.
I fiddle, bro. That's it. I'm a fiddler.
You're a fiddler.
Yeah.
I want to rephrase that.
I know
No.
what we should do. Should we have a fiddle counter?
A fiddle
Just
counter.
For
put a
how
fiddle
many
counter.
fiddles
Every
I
time
do.
Jamie fiddles, we'll do like ding,
Ding.
not the entire
Ding,
thing.
ding, 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 ding. Yeah, if you want.
If I want to put the effort in, I'll go through every other podcast
And
and
add
just
up.
take out all the fiddles.
Put it all through into like a sequence of me just.
Just make a separate video for
I
it.
don't know why, mate. I don't know why it happens. It's like
5 minutes of Jamie
crack
fiddling.
energy.
10 hours of Jamie fiddling.
Oh,
Brilliant.
yeah, don't
And that's
rephrase
how
it.
it ends. At the end of the 10 hours, it's just.
That's our first spit take. Oh, congratulations,
No, that was
bro.
I just.
That is a first
That's
spit
a
take.
spit
Just
take.
breathe.
That's a spit
Yeah,
take,
maybe
bro.
it was a spit
Nice
take.
one, bro. You lost your spit take virginity. How do you feel now?
Like, you
But
guys
true.
are actually funny.
Yeah, but we are though.
Yeah, I know. Come back. I'm joking. Don't be offended.
Don't feel welcome.
I laugh at your jokes all the time. You just never made me speak.
Well, do you want to talk to us about lactic acid?
Lactic acid. It builds up in your bones, and it makes you old and gives you arthritis.
Build up in your bones.
It's not your bones.
It doesn't give you
isn't it
arthritis.
muscles.
No.
Isn't
Yeah.
it your muscles that it
Your muscles.
It's when you
Builds up
go.
in-
It's
I
when
don't
you go
fuck all about lactic
anaerobic
acid.
that lactic acid is produced in your body.
Yeah.
So when is it when your cells go anaerobic? After a certain amount of exercise, your body stops consuming oxygen and starts consuming glucose, and at that
know.
point, because of the reaction,
Should we
it
ask
lets
Steve?
off lactic acid.
Steve,
Should we
Yeah,
just
drop
oh
us a
god?
message.
Shall we see if we can get Steve to like
What
answer
time
a
is
call
it?
right now and tell
Almost
us?
midnight.
Do you think he's awake?
Is
He was active 3 minutes ago.
Call him.
give me a ring.
Steve, you're on the podcast.
Bear with us 1 second. Steve, if you're watching,
Phoning a
answer.
friend. He might be really pissed, or he might just not answer.
He's answered.
Steve,
That's it.
Steve, you're on the podcast, mate. I need you to now. You're on the podcast. You're on the podcast, and we're calling you because you're our expert sports physician. Sure, yeah, that. We're doing an episode today talking about acids in cocktails, like lactic acid, for instance, which can be added to drinks to give a creaminess. But we're going to get to that. We want to know about lactic acid in the body when your body goes anaerobic.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what's going on there?
When the lactic acid builds up in your legs, well, within whatever muscle you're working, so that you can't operate full efficiency, and that acid starts pumping all around at a rate of nuts. and then you go all weak and wobbly, and that's why you get jelly legs and things like that, and it's magic. Although it's not purely anaerobic, it can happen as a result of aerobic exercise when it's pushed to excessive quantities.
And is going anaerobic when your body stops drawing from oxygen and starts drawing from somewhere else? Can you tell us what going anaerobic is? Because I can't remember. It's something like that. Do you remember secondary school biology? Because I don't. That's why I'm calling you.
I didn't listen to that. I remember having an incredibly attractive biology teacher, and she took up 90% of my brain power.
Right, and well, that wasn't true for us,
Amazing.
but...
What was her name?
Beep!
That one you should have introduced it by telling me I was on the air.
I didn't say shit. All right. Well, that was Steve, our specialist sports physician. Thank you very much, Steve.
Steve, say goodbye.
Say goodbye. And I'm going to text you later to explain this. Thank you very much. We know it's late. Sorry. Bye-bye. We love you. Okay, that was Steve. But yeah, no, there we go. Lactic acid basically builds up in the body and gives you jelly legs. It is not that kind of lactic acid.
Is it a different type of lactic acid?
Well, I'm assuming so, because it's store-bought, not produced within your body.
Yeah, they don't harvest it from the human body.
Yeah, like get people just to run until they can't anymore, and then lactic
It's
acid.
just a ton of humans on treadmills in like tight cages.
Yeah, exactly. And then when they pass out from fucking
Humans
Yeah,
and
yeah,
battery
yeah.
cages.
excess exercise, they just pull out the lactic acid and then bottle it for
That's
us.
when animals take over the world and put humans into cages.
Into
and make
cages,
them
yeah.
harvest
And they
lactic
want-
acid.
And then
For
you've
their
got like
cocktails.
sheeps and cows making cocktails with human lactic acid. Just shake a cocktail with their hooves.
I mean, it would put
Press them
the
together.
it would put the chicken shake into perspective,
The
wouldn't it?
chicken shake. Ah, the chicken shake. Tick, 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 tick. For fuck's sake. That's what just because your mum calls it the chicken shake.
All right, so that's lactic acid. Amazing.
Well, yeah.
Oh, I almost got you as well.
Very close. Very close.
No, go on. So we know how it's used in the body. How is it used in drinks?
Lactic acid is used, you add it to drinks to add creaminess, essentially. If you want to talk about beers, you can talk about the lacto pale ale that we have at work, Cold Spark,
Boom.
where lactose is added, lactic acid is added to add a creaminess to the beer, basically. And in the same way, you can just add a few drops straight into cocktails or into syrups as well. So if you wanted to do like a vanilla syrup and you wanted it to be creamy, you would use lactic acid to add that creaminess to it. Or if you're doing a strawberries and cream syrup, you add the lactic acid to give you the creaminess, to bolster the cream.
Rhubarb and custard.
Rhubarb and custard, and it will give you the creaminess, but it won't add the density that you get from having to add cream or
So it
milk
wouldn't be
or
that mouthfeel
non-dairy
that you would normally
dairy
get from cream
alternatives.
itself.
Or would it be the mouthfeel?
It's mouthfeel.
It is mouthfeel.
It's mouthfeel.
It will
it's
give you
not
the
flavour.
mouthfeel.
It's mouthfeel, not
Okay,
flavour.
right. Okay, I understand.
No flavour, just mouthfeel, creaminess.
I was thinking you get the creaminess flavour from it.
No.
Okay.
The creamy feel, which you
Okay.
can use to bolster a creamy flavour that you've added in. You've turned into
So
a syrup,
it
but
helps,
because it's a
it helps
syrup,
coat
it
the mouth, basically.
I am not a professional at like taste and the science of tasting and what actually makes things feel like creamier in your mouth or thinner in your mouth. It's possible that the acid makes it kind of like stick together a bit more, so as it flows across your tongue, it doesn't really,
Because I found,
break
there's
away and it
if something
feels
coats your
creamier.
mouth,
I have no idea.
the flavour is brought out a lot more. I don't know, maybe just me, but
I honestly, I just don't know. I don't know how that side of things works.
I mean, it's something we
unfortunately.
can look up and we can find out.
But it works great in syrups, and you could add, in theory, a few dashes of a solution. It's at the same strength as like a malic acid, so you need to heavily dilute it. You dilute malic acid 10 to 1, you dilute lactic acid 9 to 1.
9 to 1.
9 to 1.
Damn.
So 9
That's a
parts
big
water
ratio.
to 1 part powdered acid, basically. And yeah, we could use that to do our rhubarb and custard shrub or syrup. Could add them to the shrubs. I was thinking about this the other day. You know the watermelon shrub,
Yes.
right? There is like a slight creaminess at the end.
Yeah.
You could add a creaminess to the whole drink by just adding a little bit of lactic acid into the shrub. Yeah.
Mm. So we could start playing around with all these.
There's our first noise.
Lactic
problem.
acid when your muscles don't have enough oxygen to break down the glucose in the blood. So I said the right words,
Thank you,
but
Steve.
not in the right order.
Yeah. Thank you, Steve.
I was close.
Thank
Steve, you're the fucking best.
Should we give Steve a free shout out?
Yeah.
Did we just shout out Steve?
What's his Instagram?
What's his
Yeah, what's his
Instagram?
Instagram?
Shout his Instagram out.
Shout his Instagram out. Go why? Oh God! But now he just knows that I don't know what his name is on Instagram.
It's probably just
No,
Steve.
It's
I'll
probably
cut this
just
down.
Steve
Steve
Moyes.
dot Moyes.
Steve dot is Steve.
Is it
dot
Steve dot
Moyes?
Moyes?
Steve dot Moyes.
Steve, clearly I know you more than you think.
Steve dot Moyes. Everybody go give him a follow, a like, a share, and a subscribe. Not
To
that
our-
he posts anything.
To
on
our
his
40 odds viewers, or God knows what.
40? 40 would be nice. We're at like 30.
Yeah.
I was going.
we
for
love them.
average from
We love
there.
and we cherish them.
everyone.
And anyone that wants to send us a message and say how much you like the podcast, that'd be great.
It's a shit heart. I'm doing a shit. No, it's yeah.
It's quite nice.
Yeah.
The one.
Yeah, that's lactic acid.
Nice.
Basically,
Super simple, super easy.
super simple, super easy.
Add that creaminess.
Yeah.
To your
Like a
podcast.
simple syrup.
Yeah.
And then the last
Um,
one.
Oh, there's actually two more.
Oh, even
Is
better.
there? Is it?
Yeah, but there was
View
something.
time.
There was something I wanted to kind of just popped into my head.
Yes, go.
If you're trying to design yourself a cocktail that's going to have it's going to be sparkling, so sparkling water or soda water inside, it's going to be effervescent. If you're going to be adding a syrup into that drink, consider using malic acid inside of that syrup. Not just because it will boost the flavour of your syrup, but also once you start getting those bubbles popping on your tongue, like that malic acid is going to add. It's just going to boost that effervescence in your mouth, and it's going to be amazing.
Pop.
Another use for pop. Surely that's cool. Never mind.
I don't think it's a trademark quote. I don't think it is. Shouldn't be.
Oh,
Anyway.
Who knows?
Anyway.
Yeah, so that was. So now, what ones do we have left? We've got tartric acid and
Phosphoric,
wait for
citric,
it,
malic,
ascorbic.
ascorbic.
Let's do
Tartric
some
acid and ascorbic.
Tartric. So that's what you have with your fish and chips, right?
Tartar sauce.
Tartric sauce.
Tartric sauce? No.
Fully thought you were talking about malt vinegar then.
Malt vinegar.
Don't know why. I did. You said fish and chips, and I was like malt vinegar.
Go on, hazard a guess as to what you think you can find tartric acid in.
Go for it. Go
Why?
you first.
I
You
have
first.
no idea.
No.
Actually, no idea.
Can you give me a clue? Is it?
Begins with
can
A.
Apples.
Yes.
Is it actually?
Can you name another one? Also
Apricots.
beginning with A. Apricots.
Apricots.
What a guess.
And there's one more beginning with B.
Bananas.
That was super
That was
easy.
easy. There you
Nice.
go.
Look at
Apples,
that.
apricots, and bananas.
Bananas and apricots. Naturally occurring in those. Again, it comes in a powdered form, and what it does to drinks when added is essentially it adds a drying effect. So, although it is found in bananas, apricots, and apples, it's most commonly found in grapes, or it's most predominantly found in grapes.
Green grapes.
And it's what basically the amount of tartric acid inside of a single grape is going to basically be how acidic your wine is, or how dry your wine is. More
Right.
tartric acid, a drier wine, less, a sweeter wine.
Is that why with a white wine you're going to get more of a citric feel?
Probably because there's more tartric acid in white grapes than red grapes. I have no proof to back that up. But yeah, essentially that's where that dryness comes from in grapes. So tartric acid is seldom added into cocktails really, but you can use it to give a drying effect to drinks.
Dry
Death.
as in like no sugar? Or
Yeah, dry
Yeah.
as in no sugar, or dry doesn't mean no sugar. Dry means
But, like,
it
less-
doesn't taste sweet.
Less sweetness.
Yeah, less
Okay.
sweetness. It will give you that effect. Not many people really add it to drinks. Death & Co. If you ever go to Death & Co, in the States, which is an amazing bar. They
Again,
mix-
no paid partnership.
No paid partnership. This is just an example. It's the only use I know of tartric acid. So they mix tartric acid and lactic acid together to make what they call champagne acid, which emulates, like in champagne, that creaminess that you get and that dryness that you get from champagne. So if you're making a cocktail that has champagne in it, and then you're adding other ingredients, if you don't want to lose the champagne, you add this mix of lactic and tartric acid to essentially just boost the flavour of champagne, and that's why they call it champagne acid. But otherwise, there aren't many other, like off the top of my head, examples and uses for tartric acid, but there are certainly uses. You just need to think of a drink that you want to be adding a dryness to.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. Then there's only one acid left.
Ascorbic.
Ascorbic acid. Everyone
Scorpion
knows.
acid.
Everyone knows ascorbic
Literally
acid.
what I was thinking, scorpion, when you said that.
Scorpion
Yeah.
acid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ascorbic acid is derived from scorpions.
Is that where it comes from?
No. No.
They just fucking
No, ascorbic acid is vitamin
Kill
C.
vitamin C.
Vitamin C is ascorbic acid.
So found in oranges.
Orange juice, yeah. Found in a ton of stuff, actually.
I thought orange juice was vitamin D. Yeah, hence Sunny D.
No, vitamin D is naturally produced in your body when it's exposed to sunlight, which is why in extremely hot
I just
countries.
always thought, Sunny D, vitamin D, oranges.
Well, it's because
I
they
think
add
they
vitamin
add
D
vitamin
to
D
Sunny
to
D
it.
to sell it to you.
They also added a ton of sugar back
Hence
in
why
the-
they turned everyone orange.
In extremely hot countries where people
Probably.
where people wear a lot of sun cream, they put vitamin D in milk because people
Yeah.
don't get enough vitamin D because their skin is covered in a protective layer from the sun. So
The
vitamin D
the
helps
the
towards
mel-
bone
mel-
structure and shit
melanin?
like that. Melanin,
Melatonin.
melatonin.
melatonin. Melanin is what makes your skin either white or black. Right?
I don't know about that.
Pretty sure. It's the compound that essentially determines your skin tone. It's melanin. More melanin, the darker you are. Less, the whiter you are.
I thought that was the same thing that helps you.
Well,
tan
now
and
I
not
need
tan.
to know because it's a big discussion. Now I need to know. But melatonin is the thing that helps you sleep, no?
Melatonin is the thing that helps you.
Is that
sleep.
Melatonin
Yes, I
is
did
what's
find this
naturally
out the other
produced in
day.
the body
Yeah.
when you want to sleep or when your body wants to sleep. Melanin.
The thing that builds up in the brain.
Let me find out. It's a broad term for a group of natural pigments found in most organisms. Melanin is produced through a multi-stage chemical process known as melogenesis, where the oxidation of amino acid triosine is followed by polymerization. Wow, that was hard.
Again, where acids is a big.
Yeah,
thing.
melanin is the result of skin pigmentation. So the more melanin in your body, the darker your skin tone.
Well, there you go. We don't just drink, we teach as well.
Well, we learn. Yes, there you go. What was your question?
Yeah, that was my question.
Yes, that's
You
it.
answered it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you, bro.
The uses for ascorbic acid pretty much don't. The ascorbic acid won't flavour anything at all. It has no flavour.
What does
Uses.
it do?
It is a preservative. It's an antioxidant,
So it
as
helps-
you know
it
from
helps
every
make it
sales advert ever. It's an antioxidant. So you add it to
Anything?
syrups, juices, and things like that that are very delicate and go off easily. Like fresh apple juice will turn brown if it's exposed to oxygen. An apple cut in half will turn brown. So if you want to preserve your garnishes that are prone to oxidization, you can take a little bit of ascorbic acid solution. Again, mixing ascorbic acid with water in a solution of, I think it's 10:1 again.
Now,
But
did
essentially,
you find it in bread?
In bread.
Because so
Ascorbic
there's a
acid.
little thing that I
well,
learned
possibly.
where because potatoes once again oxidize very quickly and turn brown if they are if they are exposed to oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you stick a slice of bread in a pot of water and potatoes, I told Elliot this the other day, it stops it from going
Yeah.
brown.
Yeah, well, it could be because there's plenty of ascorbic acid inside. But you could do the same thing. You could take ascorbic acid, make a solution, take your potato, rub it, essentially wash it in ascorbic acid, and then it won't oxidize as quickly.
Oh, well, okay, so it will over time, just not.
Yeah,
as quick as
not
it
as
would.
quickly. It will
Yeah,
eventually, yeah.
it's
You
acid.
can't stop that process of
Yeah.
oxidization. Or you can add it, so that's to preserve your garnishes. You can just put them in a ascorbic acid solution. Or you can add it straight in powdered form into a syrup or into a juice to preserve it, to stop it oxidizing as quickly and essentially draw out the lifetime of that product, which is great for a lot of reasons, because you know you can stop things going off as quickly and then maximize the shelf life of a product. And that's everything I know about alternative acids, pretty much. Yeah.
Wow.
And their uses for them. There's a lot.
And we strongly use the word alternative acids.
Alternative.
Okay. So I guess my last question is, do we have any plans for using any acids in anything that we're going to make?
Well, yeah, no, because I'm trying to figure out at the moment a way to make my my apple soda.
Apple soda, yeah.
I want to be able to make apple soda. I'm going to use clarified apple juice. I'm going to add that bite back using malic acid. I'm thinking very soon that we're going to start doing. What did you just do?
You'll realise in a second.
Oh, I finished the other one.
Yeah, like
Same.
half left.
You'll see when you watch it later.
What are you going to drink now?
My glass of water.
So yeah, we can do some stuff like that. Have some experiments.
Yeah, I also want
Make
to try
some
adding
tables.
lactic acid to some milk punches that we're going to do to add
And our
even
rhubarb and
more
custard
creamy.
shrub.
Yeah,
Rhubarb banana shrub.
banana shrub.
Which is a rhubarb and custard shrub.
Add some lactic acid.
I still
I
think
wonder
we
if
should.
adding tartric acid to the rhubarb and banana would bring out the banana flavour anymore, seeing as there's tartric acid in banana.
Maybe it
Sorry.
would. Yes, it will.
No, I was going to say I still think we should try and clarify it through the custard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We do have to.
Yeah,
we do have to try and do
See if
that.
that
We
works.
do
I think
have to
that'd be
try
a
and do
great
that.
idea.
But if we want to just make like a custard syrup or something, we can use lactic acid to give it the creaminess that it would have, and then other ingredients to give the flavour back.
Or we just try and think like we work out the flavour notes of custard, and then try and get a flavours and palette that comes close to
Yeah,
custard.
exactly. And then you add the
And you add that creaminess to it to then give it that custard feel.
Yeah, which would be
That's
great, because then when you add it to the drink will feel creamy, but it won't be thick. It won't be dense. It won't be like trying to drink custard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is important. So in short, alternative acids are really great for kind of adding a lot of different of the effects that citrus can give, because citrus can hit all four of the different kind of flavor types. It can be salty, it can be sweet, it can be sour, it can be bitter. So you can add all of those different parts of citrus without ever using the juice to drinks, without adding the flavor. And if you have that in mind when you're trying to come up with a drink, it can be really, really interesting to try and create the backbone of a drink without using citrus juice. It allows you to play around with flavors and also kind of trick the people that are drinking them, because they're going to take a sip and it's going to be like, holy shit, this is really dry and or this is really sour, but it's a totally clear cocktail. So there's clearly no lemon juice in it. What the hell's going on? It's a great way to trick people so that it looks different when you sip it, it tastes different, which is really fun. It's like when you do when you milk punch something and it totally strips away the colour from it, and then you take a sip and it's like you're sipping this
Milk Punch Jungle Bird,
which
is a red cocktail that comes out like
completely,
sort of
it's like a light yellow, isn't
yeah.
it? Clear yellow, but normally it would be a red
Translucent
cocktail, and then
If
when
you follow the
you sip
Instagram,
it,
you can have a look.
it's just like, well, you get flavours of Campari and a pineapple juice. Campari's bright red and pineapple juice is not clear in any way. But
It's
when
a
you take
surprise
sip
to the
of it-
palate.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a big surprise to the palate,
Awesome.
because because most of the time you look at something and your taste buds will go from.
You think
your
you
eyesight.
already know how it tastes.
You'll look at it and go, okay, it's going to taste like bitter. You drink it and it's sweet. What?
Yeah, you know, your brain is gonna decide what the most likely flavour of it is, and so that when you sip it and it's like, holy shit, this is so much different to what I thought it would be. Often that makes it in your mind.
Which in some ways, it's sometimes it's not great.
Well, sometimes it's not what you want.
In this prospect, it works very well.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
God, he's got 2 hands in now.
New levels. So, should we just give him like a freaking Rubik's
Like a
cube
toy
this
to
time?
play with, and I'll just sit here like a
fidget spinner
cat.
or like a fidget cube.
Get one? No, I don't want to fucking get one of those fucking, you know, those cat toys you dangle in front of them.
Oh,
and
cat
chase
just put it
after.
up
Yeah, hang it from the wall, and it can just be here, and I'll just be like slapping it around and shit the whole time.
We'll just give you some catnip.
Yeah. Huh?
Some catnip.
Dive across the table, chasing it, fucking smash everything up.
Ball of yarn. Give him a ball of yarn.
All of yarn, he'd be running about like left, right, and
Fuck you guys.
everywhere.
I'm not an animal.
Well, that was amazing. Guys.
Yeah, that was cool. That was everything
I
that
think
we
we
know
covered
on
it.
That was
alternative
super
acids.
interesting, actually. Yeah, that was
You,
really,
you taught us. You taught them.
really cool.
Well, hopefully. I know that I'm a bit all over the place when I come out with this shit, but I promise I understand what I'm talking about.
That's good. At least you understand.
So I get it.
Hey, I understood as well.
I learned
Exactly.
something.
A lot of applications, a lot of ways to use it.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to actually like experimenting with some acids
Yeah,
in cocktails and drinks and see what we can actually do with that.
yeah, no, I think it'd be really
That'd be
cool.
really cool.
I think that's something we should
Amazing.
definitely try and get something on the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we'll try and in like either next week or week after or week after.
Oh yeah,
I think
what I
next
want to
month.
do, what I
Try and
want
get
to
hold of some
do,
stuff and
I want to try and
do
make
something.
like a side-by-side sidecar, one with lemon juice.
And one with.
Well, I think it'd be
citric
really
acid.
cool. Let's do a sidecar
Yep.
because it's only 3 ingredients. It's a nice drink. It's not a drink everybody makes all the time. We'll do a normal one.
One of my mum's favourite cocktails.
Excellent.
Sidecar.
We'll do a standard sidecar.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll do a sidecar with clarified lemon juice,
Mm-hmm.
stirred, and then we'll do a sidecar with an alternative acid.
Nice. Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Let's do that.
Make them, try them side by side, and we see what the differences are. I think that'd
See
be
what's what.
super
That'd be really
interesting.
cool.
Help us understand
Should that be
What's
our-
actually
Sidecar,
happening.
3 ways.
sidecar,
Sidecar
3
3
ways.
ways.
Sidecar 3 ways with a pea puree
Yeah.
and a red wine jus.
and a red wine jus.
Amazing. On that note, Will, do you want to lead out the outro?
It's been your boys, Will, Elliot, Jamie. It's been all Flat 5.
Peace.
Oh, that was good. That was
Great.
good.
Cut it.